All right, we're here with Brian Height, Magnolia Health and Home and Independence. He was in our first class of Entrepreneurial Mindset, which was last August in 2012. And Brian, would you start by telling us what you liked best about the class?
I liked best that it wasn't like a class, not like a normal college class anyway. The best part about coming into the weekly meeting was that it was very laid back and very open, lots of ideas flowing around, lots of laughter, lots of energy, and I really think that the people that took the class took more away from those meetings than they would have otherwise. But even the online portion of it, that was great. I own a business, and I don't have time to devote to a set schedule of class time. So I was able to take all of my homework, so to speak, and do it all on a Sunday afternoon because that's the only time I have off. And it worked really well for me.
Well, good. How have the life lessons of the course helped you in your business or at work?
Well, it's interesting because before I took the class, I've always kind of marched to my own drummer. And so there's a lot of things that I do differently that I kind of know intrinsically without knowing why I know them. And taking the class and learning about the life lessons and reading the book, it really helped confirm for me that all of the things that I kind of knew intrinsically aren't crazy, aren't wrong. It's kind of funny because I would be told by other people around me that I was doing things, the wrong way or not as. But I got confirmation from those eight life lessons that I was doing things the way that other successful entrepreneurs do them. And so that's all the confirmation that I needed, number one. But number two, there are individual things like recognizing opportunities, which is one of the lessons that I never really thought about as a specific unit of activity, and so now I do. And now, everywhere, all the time, I'm looking for problems, because if I can find a problem, that means I can find an opportunity to fix it, and I can create something new and be innovative. And it's kind of funny because I'm driving everybody crazy because I'm fixing problems all over the place that used to you just live with, but things are running smoother now because I'm identifying the problems, I'm identifying opportunities, and I'm creating solutions to them. Some of the other things like brand recognition, or not brand recognition, but maintaining a brand, I never really thought about either. But it's something that I kind of knew. But now that I have my attention drawn on it, everything that I do with a brand in mind, both my personal brand and brand for the store. So personally, I try my best to always make sure that I'm doing things that I say that I'm going to do when I say that I'm going to do them because, as a business owner, things get really busy and hectic and sometimes you forget things or sometimes things get pushed off and, it's really no fault of my own, but by telling people that you're going to do something and then not doing it in the timely manner, that hurts your personal brand. And so I need to make sure that I can fulfill my promises personally, but as a business is concerned, it's the same thing. I have to make sure that my customers are getting a consistent product every time, that they're getting what they expect, and they're getting the value for what they expect every time without fail.
Which of the Ice House entrepreneurs did you like best and why?
My favorite, probably because he kind of reminds me of me a little bit, and also because I hope to have his vision, was Brian Scudamore, the one that started the 1-800-GOT-JUNK guy. He started with nothing, basically, one little truck and some tools, and he worked himself up to, I don't know what he said, $100 million business now. But what I really liked about the way he did it is that he set a personal vision for himself and for his company, and he stuck to it, and he made sure that he got there. And I've done that on my own now. I've set a personal vision for the store that I hadn't set before, for sales goals 5 years and 10 years out, and I'm going to stick to them.
Tell us about when you first decided that you didn't want to work for someone else.
I think I kind of already always knew that, but it was back, actually, when I graduated from college, I worked for a hotel company in the college town. I went to Emporia, and they were, I did well at that job, and they were grooming me, so to speak, to become a manager of one of the properties. The hotel owner was expanding and opening new properties, and so he was, making sure that I knew all the facets of running a hotel, and then I was going to get my own property. So I moved to Wichita, which is where the company was located, and I, started getting more experience there, and everybody knew that I was there so that I could learn more. But I started seeing behind the scenes some of the infighting and politics and scrambling, people fighting with each other to get up the ladder, and then all for somebody else. And I knew that I would never reach my full potential working for somebody else. And so I decided, time to do something on my own. I didn't exactly know what to do. I knew there were some opportunities back home, so I took those opportunities. They turned out to be not opportunities after all, but I learned that, and I failed without failing totally, and started the store, and here we go.
How does seeing the entrepreneurs on video and in person, the ones that we brought into class, compare to just reading about entrepreneurs in a book?
I don't have very much time. And the time that I do have, I'm not really fond of reading. And so the time that I do have is usually not spent reading. So if I had been asked to read a textbook, it wouldn't have gotten done. I would have done the same thing that I did all the way through college. I would have depended on my wit and my photographic memory, and I would have skimmed what I needed to skim, passed the test, and moved on. And that doesn't get you everything you need to go. And then you don't get the nuances either. But by having those entrepreneurs both recorded and then having them come to the class in person, the local entrepreneurs, you got to hear their story from them and be engaged by them. And it's just a lot easier to listen to somebody telling you than it is to try to read it from a book. And again, the nuances, you pick up things in the conversations that you'd never be able to pick up just reading text.
So one final thing, you're in your 6th year. You're as busy as anybody else in retail that I know. So what would you have to tell other existing business owners about thinking about taking the time and a little bit of money? It's not a huge amount of money, but the time and money to take a class like this. Is it worth it, and would you recommend it to others?
Yeah. I think you could probably tell that I would recommend it. There are things that you've been doing the same way for years, and times are different now. Times are changing. Times are constantly changing. And one of the life lessons was pursuit of knowledge. And that's something that I have always ascribed to, and I think that if you don't, then you're going to get left behind, and you're going to suffer. Your sales are going to suffer. So if you own a business and you're not constantly trying to refresh yourself and get new knowledge, then you're going to fall behind, and you may be comfortable or things may be going okay, but you're not reaching your full potential. And not only does that hurt you as an owner, but you got to think about the community impact too. What is it doing to the rest of the town? If businesses are just, coasting along, not really doing anything very well, just kind of being there, that makes a bad impression for the rest of the town. And so even if you don't think that you need to do it for yourself, maybe you need to do it for your own business, because your business is a piece of our culture. And like it or not, it reflects on the rest of the town. So I think it's extremely important to take this class and anything else you can do to get more knowledge.
All right, Brian. Well, speaking of being busy, we appreciate you coming over and taking the time to do this today. Do you have anything else that you'd like to share with us?
I really think that you need to, anybody watching this really needs to think long and hard about what you do in everyday life and how much better it could be if you had a different mindset, an entrepreneurial mindset, and I know that this class can teach that.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank